Today's top stories and your weather forecast in the first 8 minutes. Now on 8 News at 11.
Few words begin to describe just how cold it is in central Virginia tonight. An Arctic air mass is going to drop us down into the single digits and maybe even below zero. Good evening. I'm Juan Conde.
And I'm Christina Ferrick. We are also under another winter storm watch Friday night through Saturday.
We have crews everywhere this evening, but first let's get a check on how cold it is.
And John Bernier has that freezing answer for us tonight. John?
All right, we have just tied the record low temperature for today here in Richmond, which is 10 degrees, which means we got an hour. Send that by the wayside and get down below it. We already set a record, by the way, for the lowest high temperature on this day. Let's go ahead and talk about these temperatures outside right now. You see they're pretty chilly over us here. 10 degrees for us, 10 degrees in South Hill. Nation's capital still checking in at 12. Now, there's still a little bit of a breeze outside for us here, so we are still talking about a wind chill factor to deal with. The winds have lightened up in the western part of the state. It's cold out there. 8 degrees, Charlottesville down to 5 degrees over in Roanoke right now. Potentially, if the winds drop off to calm, because the air is dry, there's snow on the ground, we're going right into the tank. And that's why we could see temperatures with calm winds for a period of about 3 or 4 hours, starting around, let's say, 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., dropping down as low as this across the area. That's also going to continue with the wind chill problems for us here in central Virginia, so we do have the wind chill advisory in effect. Tomorrow when we wake up, I think we could be as cold as 3 degrees below zero early in the day, then sunshine, lighter winds. We only make it back to 19, and then after that, we're looking at another winter storm to deal with on Saturday. We'll talk about that in the full forecast coming up.
Our goal is to have the streets passable within 48 hours of the end of the storm.
That's Richmond Mayor Dwight Jones Monday as the snow was falling, with roads still covered over in ice in Richmond. And many say he let residents down on his promise. Tonight, 8 News reporter Parker Slabaugh tried to get answers from the city and took a first-hand look at those roads. He is live downtown right now. Parker?
Christina, good evening to you. Many people wondering why schools are closed once again tomorrow, and I'm going to show you right here. We're on North Mulberry Street in the city's museum district, and look at these roads. They are still ice and snow covered. In fact, I got to be careful not to fall myself. That would be embarrassing. But nonetheless, these neighbors in this area want to know when their roads are going to be clear. It's been 3 days now since snow blanketed Richmond, but many here are still wondering when they will be able to make it down their street. Brandon Law says his car is staying parked and he's walking everywhere until the problem is fixed.
Because I don't want to mess up my car either.
Law lives in the Randolph neighborhood in Richmond. He says his streets are downright dangerous.
This is like thick slush that cars probably could slip in, because I know I'm slipping around and I got on boots.
The story is much the same across town in the museum district.
We having a lot of trouble getting to work. Mayor Dwight Jones or whoever is in charge of getting this thing straight, they need to do better.
I reached out to Mayor Dwight Jones's office and was told by an aide that the mayor's 48 hours comment was meant for primary roads. The Department of Public Works says only 60% of all city streets have been plowed. Nonetheless, the director tells me she is pleased with the progress, but admits the cold temperatures have slowed things down. To show you exactly how cold it is out here, I'm going to try a little experiment. Now, I'm going to take off my necktie. Don't worry, this is one of my older neckties. I'm not going to take it off all the way. I'm still going to leave the loop in it. I'm going to soak it in this warm water here. Get it nice and wet. And then lay it out flat on the table. And 10 minutes later, let's check it out. First off, it's frozen to the table, but my tie is frozen solid. Certainly not putting this back on tonight. Despite the frigid temperatures, residents want their roads safe once again.
They really need to get out here soon.
And don't worry, I was able to find a dry new tie, got rid of that frozen one. Now, the city's public director says, the director of public works, I should say they hope to have all of the streets in Richmond cleared by tomorrow. Of course, we'll stay on top of that and keep you updated. Now, if you live in the Chesterfield County school districts, you're going to want to listen up. There are big changes coming to your school district, according to the schedule. 8 News reporter Claudia Rupcich is standing by with that. Claudia, what's going on here?
That's right, Parker. If you're a Chesterfield parent, student, or teacher, get ready to change your schedule around starting March 2nd. To make up for all of these snow days, school officials have decided to extend school days by 15 minutes. Tonight, many parents are upset, telling me they're outraged by these changes.
You can't expect that many people to rearrange their schedules because we had snow days.
Ronnie Fisher is one of many angry parents tonight. Chesterfield school leaders are adding 15 minutes to the end of each day, March 2nd through April 30th. They also eliminated early release days on February 25th and March 25th.
There should be other avenues already worked into the system.
Fisher's two daughters have dance class right after school.
Dance class may not seem like a big deal to the Board of Supervisors, but it's a big deal to my daughters. And it's a big deal to the dance teachers when the kids come in late and disrupt class.
Outreached parents took to the school system's Facebook page.
How much more instruction are they getting for 15 minutes?
On the 2014-2015 school calendar, the Makeup Time section references the option to lengthen the school day. In a statement to 8 News, a spokesperson said, quote, "When making such a decision, we are looking at the collective impact time missed will have on classroom instruction and compliance with associated federal state educational, including testing, requirements." Not all comments were negative. Other parents say they don't have a problem with the changes. One mom wrote, quote, "Very happy as to how the county is handling the snow. Adding 15 is a great idea."
Even though 15 minutes doesn't seem like much, when you add 15 minutes to everybody's day, everybody has to reschedule. Everybody in the county. You have stay-at-home moms, you have people that work, you have teachers that have second jobs.
And Chesterfield students have missed 6 days so far because of the winter weather, and that is why they're having to make these changes tonight, as they don't have any of these official snow days built into the calendar, and that's why the announcement was made tonight. Also, school officials recommend any of the parents who are upset this year to take part in public discussions when the school board is considering doing this same thing with snow days for next year. Reporting live in Chesterfield, I'm Claudia Rupsich, 8 News.
Thanks, Claudia. We checked in with some other school systems about this snow day problem. Henrico tells us it still has 8 or 9 days before they're in jeopardy of needing makeup days. Richmond tells us just about the same, 7 or 8 days. Hanover County ran out of snow days today and tells 8 News makeups are being discussed.
A Fairfax teenager who nearly drowned in a frozen lake this week has a lot to be thankful for. He ended up on the ice after sledding down a dam at Royal Lake, then broke through that thin ice. He managed to swim to a concrete drain at its center, wait for help. Fire crews broke the ice to launch a boat and save him. This is one of at least 5 rescues this week in Virginia. News where you live now in Richmond. Firefighters taking advantage of the cold weather to do water rescue training. The canal downtown, it's frozen, about 1.5 inches of ice, but still not safe to walk on. The team deals with more than 100 rescues each year. Now, even wearing a wetsuit, that freezing water was a shock to firefighters' bodies.
After just about a year on the job, the superintendent of Richmond City Schools could be packing his bags. Dr. Dana Bedden's one of 4 finalists for the superintendent's job in Boston, Massachusetts. Sources tell us a recruiter contacted Bedden months ago. Richmond School Board members say they expected larger cities to come calling.
There's a national superintendent shortage. He's at the prime of his career. Urban environments, it's really hard to recruit folks for those positions. So I'm not surprised.
Bedden's Richmond contract doesn't end until 2017. He is currently one of the city's highest paid employees, earning more than $231,000 a year. Tomorrow morning, former First Lady Maureen McDonald will be sentenced for 8 felony convictions related to public corruption. Prosecutors are asking the judge in the case to give her 18 months behind bars. Her husband, Bob, was sentenced to 2 years. Maureen's defense team is asking for probation and community service. An 8 News team will be in the courtroom tomorrow to bring you every development live. Stay with us here on air and on social media and at WRIC.com for complete coverage.
Being married for 50 years is reason to celebrate.
75 years of marriage, almost unheard of, but a local couple is just a few weeks away from an even bigger milestone, their 81st anniversary.
Don't you say so.
So,
How they met, how they keep their love alive, and their advice for you coming up next.
Plus, the link between the length of a man's fingers and whether you want to date him. Details are coming up. John?
Well, here across central Virginia, after very cold weather tonight, we're looking at the possibilities of more wintry precipitation on Saturday. I'll break it all down for you coming up in a few moments.
All right, thanks, JB. You're watching 8 News at 11, and tonight, even the Virginia War Memorial is cold.
More news where you live when Juan and I return. Stay warm and stay with us. Welcome back. Tonight, a love story more than 8 decades in the making.
Back in 1934, Franklin Roosevelt was serving his first term as president. Americans were suffering through the Great Depression, and here in Richmond, Louise and Harwood Cochran got married.
8 News anchor Amy Lacey sat down with them as they prepared to reach yet another milestone.
They're weeks away from their 81st wedding anniversary.
I can't believe that, though. I don't count the years anymore.
But when you get Louise and Harwood Cochran talking, you're taken back to 1930s Richmond. She was a teenager from Halifax. He was a milk delivery man with Hanover roots, 3 years her senior.
We met on a blind date. He had a date with my friend, and he brought his cousin along, and I dated his cousin. The next day, he called me, wanted to see me again.
In those early days, there were double dates and flights over Richmond. On the ground, there was courting at Bill's Barbecue. On March 31st, 1934, they made it official with a simple wedding in the minister's parlor at Tabernacle Baptist Church.
He was starting a business, so he had to go out of town the next morning. We couldn't go anywhere, and he promised me a honeymoon, and he's still promising it. We haven't had it yet.
You're working on it.
What?
I'm still working on it.
You're working on it, yes.
So there was no official honeymoon during their humble beginnings. But what evolved was a marriage filled with life. In 1935, Harwood founded Overnight Transportation, the first of his 2 trucking companies, a $1 billion+ business. It afforded the Cochrans opportunities like no other.
Quite a few.
Gracious, we went to so many exciting places. Don't you say so.
So.
Along with experiences, they were a family. 3 daughters, 7 grandchildren, and now 12 great-grandchildren later. But they never stopped working on just the 2 of them.
It's a two-way game. You can't always have your way. Sometimes let him have his way. And you'll have some rough times ahead. We did, but you lived through it. That makes you a little bit stronger, I think.
Even in those tough times, like losing a daughter, the Cochrans have been driven by a deep sense of philanthropy, supporting Richmond landmarks like the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts.
We felt like that was a place when we had some money to give away that everybody could enjoy.
They have a passion for art. Louise still paints in her home studio as often as she can. She has an exhibition at Lewis Ginter this month and is planning for one at VMFA next year for her 100th birthday. And after all these years, the Cochrans still share so much.
We enjoy the opera, we enjoy the symphony. When you get our age, it's hard to find fun. It's fun in just living, I guess. We go to church and we take a ride in the country every Sunday after church, and we enjoy that kind of a thing, but we don't really take trips anymore.
Unless you count those trips down memory lane. There are still plenty of those.
Are you happy you stayed with me?
I'm a happy man.
Yeah. Anything you like to do you haven't done?
There's a few people I like to punch in the nose.
Laughter, love, life with each other.
I just think we belong together now.
In Richmond, Amy Lacey, 8 News.
Apparently they do, and he's quite sassy, but she keeps him on track. I love it.
I'm working on it, and I like to punch the people in the nose. I like that guy a lot.
He tells it like it is.
Sure
we
does.
appreciate the time they spent with us.
Indeed.
Well, the Academy Awards, they are coming.
Sunday night, you'll see who gets to take home the Oscar right here on 8 News. I should say Oscars.
It's the only place to see the Oscars live. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Then catch the Good Morning Richmond team immediately following the telecast on 8 News for 8 News at 11. John?
All right, I guess with the Oscar theme, we would say the nominee for coldest forecast for Central Virginia. It's tonight here across the area. It looks like record low temperatures headed our way between now and early tomorrow morning. I've already set the record for the coldest high temperature today. The record for the low temperature has been tied and will probably be broken before midnight. Take a look. We've got fair skies over us right now. A little bit of light snow back to the west of Missouri. If you watch this as it goes back into motion, you can actually see the snow on the ground right through here in portions of the Midwest and even over to us here in the Mid-Atlantic region. A few snow showers have faded apart up around Cleveland. There's the light snow all the way headed down towards Memphis. That's along a boundary that's going to come back in our direction and set the stage for more wintry precipitation on Saturday over the area. 10 degrees outside right now, single digits, everybody off to the west of us, and of course Hot Springs well below zero. When you factor in the winds, the wind chill feels like 5 below for us, 2 below Louisa, 2 below in Charleston. You say, wait a minute, why are those wind chills lower? That is because their winds have dropped off now to about 6 miles an hour. Our winds are still 13 miles an hour. You notice the winds to the west of us are lighter. They're calm at Farmville. That's moving in, and when that happens, temperatures will plummet here in Central Virginia, probably down to 0 or slightly below by early tomorrow morning. All right, wake up tomorrow. We're going to have sunshine. It's going to stay cold. We're only going to make it back to 19 degrees. That's still a good 20-plus degree warm-up from the overnight low temperatures. So it's going to make things rather chilly for us. And then we look ahead to Saturday. That's the next weather system coming in. Clouds over us. The $64,000 question for Saturday is, what time does the precipitation arrive? Models trying to slow it back down a little bit and keep it kind of off to the west of us. As we go through the day, the setup is here for some snow to move in for us. If it gets here, let's say 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., we'll get a little more snow. Then in the afternoon, things will change over to sleet and freezing rain. By Saturday night, we head into rainfall. Temperatures will rise into Sunday morning. Sunday, we will have showers across the area, but it is going to be at least enough to wash everything away. Models say maybe about an inch of snow for us, then rain on top of that as temperatures sky to 50 degrees on Sunday, melting a lot of this away, but it's cool next week also.
Thank you, John. Time now to take a look at what's trending online tonight.
High school sports have been taking a beating in all this bad weather, but one local team's making the most of it. When snow knocked the Amelia girls basketball team out of this week's conference tournament, their head coach Robin Gary issued the girls a challenge. Enjoy the days off, but send in snow pictures that have to do with basketball. They're all posted online now and keeping spirits high while the courts are covered in the white stuff.
All right, this one has the ladies talking. Wish you could figure out if your next date is a nice guy or a jerk immediately. Well, just look at his hands. A strange study shows the shorter a guy's index finger is compared to his ring finger, the more likely he is to be nice to women. Now, guys whose index fingers and their ring fingers are close in length, or their index finger is actually longer than their ring finger, watch out. So, Juan is not showing his fingers, and I'm not going to make him.
Take it from me, I'm a horrible person. You're probably best not to be involved.
No. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
That's what you think.
And I don't know that that's true for women also.
It is not true for women.
It is not true.
No, it's definitely not true.
All right, well, listen to this. This is how they figured this out. Apparently, over 20 days, participants kept track of social interactions lasting more than 5 minutes and classified their own behavior either agreeable or quarrelsome.
All right, well.
Unscientific study.
You can read more about this at WRIC.com.
Stay with us. We're back in a moment. Keeping your fingers down.
On Sunday at the 57th running of the Daytona 500, Jeff Gordon will start first and Jimmy Johnson will start beside him. Most of the rest of the field, the order of that field as well, will be determined by 2 60-lap races called the Budweiser Duels, and they happen tonight. In race 1, you're on board with the pole sitter, Jeff Gordon, as his Hendrick Motorsports teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes the lead from Kevin Harvick. That was lap 36. So here's the final lap. And Junior wins the first duel. He'll start third on Sunday. In race 2, less than 5 laps to go. Watch Denny Hamlin. Did he bump Danica Patrick or did he not? Well, she spun out. She says he was too close. He says he didn't touch her. They both qualified for racing Sunday, but they are not happy with each other. We'll have to monitor that situation as the season goes on. High school basketball now. Public school tournaments won't start until Saturday at the earliest, but the prep tourney started today. The St. Chris Saints, the 4 seed, facing the 5th seeded Woodbury Forest, and early on the big three of St. C showed their talents. Alex Petrie to Fleet Wallace. He knocks down the jumper from the corner. It's 9-1 St. Chris after the opening quarter. 30 seconds left in the half now. Nick Sherrod, the Saints' all-time leading scorer for a reason. It's 27-8 Saints at the half. Right before the half, Luke Neely, power dribble. Not enough for the dunk, but he does lay it in. Again, halftime 29-8. Third quarter, Saints and Fleet Wallace literally running away from the Tigers. Wallace went to Woodbury Sports Camp, too, as a kid, so karma hurts. In the fourth quarter, Wallace to Alex Petrie for the bump in the bucket, and St. Chris goes on to demolish Woodbury Forest by the final score of 53-30.
Anyone you can get this tournament's awesome. This one especially win by so much, it means a lot, and especially senior year. It's awesome to see everyone really come together well. Now, I mean, we're clicking on all cylinders.
We're excited we get another chance to go play St. Anne's, the #1 seeded team in the league. It's going to be a great environment. Our league is really good top to bottom, and we're hoping to go there and make some noise.
And that's it for sports. I'm Mitch Carr. Good luck with the lottery.
Sunshine's back tomorrow. Temperature, though, only up to 19 degrees. Then we look at an unsettled weekend, at least a wintry mix for you on Saturday. It does change over to rainfall. Ends as rain on Sunday. We warm to 50 degrees, so it should only be a temporary inconvenience.
All right. Thanks, John. Thank you for joining us. I'm Christina Ferrick.
I'm Juan Conde. 8 News continues at 4:30 a.m. with Good Morning Richmond. Good night.